Welcome to the Legal Code. If it's your first time here, my name is Mariam Greenidge and I'm a licensed New York attorney. I specialize in helping small businesses protect their business assets, which includes their intellectual property as well as their business assets. And in this video, we are going to discuss intellectual property and how to avoid receiving a copyright notice, whether that be online or in the mail, because copyright infringement can happen across all platforms, online or offline. So first, let's go through the basics and then we'll get into how to avoid receiving this notice. A copyright is an artistic expression that's fixed in a medium, meaning it's a tangible physical item, whether that's a video, music, a play or performance. It can't be an idea that still exists in the author's mind. It actually has to be something that is manifested in the physical world. So now that we know what a copyright, let's go through the list of things that are included in a copyright, or the categories of copyright. A copyright pertains to dramatic works, which are plays or some sort of performance, literary work, which are books, which cover the whole gambit of type of books or literature, musical works, artistic works, poetry, novels, movies, songs, computer software, as well as architecture. Examples of copyrighted work include books, videos, your YouTube videos, especially photographs, or a written play. There are other examples, but I just want to give you an idea of what is considered copyrightable work. So once you have a copyrighted work, copyright actually means you have the exclusive right to use the copyrighted work in any way that you would like. If you want to sell it, if you want to distribute it, if you want to perform it, copyright gives you this right to use it in any way you see fit. And that exclusive right only belongs to the author unless the author says otherwise and allows other people to have access to this copyrighted work and use it. And that's where licensing comes in, but we'll discuss that in another video. So the law protects artwork pretty much. And the law protects artwork because the law wants to protect artists, because a society without art would be boring. And the law also wants to make sure that artists are rewarded for any work that they created, because it is work. So now that we have those basics down, let's go through how to avoid getting a copyright notice. Number one, make sure you are the original creator or author of the work. This is a foolproof way of avoiding any notice in the mail. A lot of times there could be discrepancies about original creations of the work if it's derivative, but the best way to avoid receiving any copyright notice is to make sure that you're the original creator of the work and that you didn't borrow inspiration from someone else. That happens a lot in the musical area, where there's disputes about inspiration from an older artist. But we could discuss that in another video. That's actually really interesting as to who created this musical tune first. But more or less, it's to keep things simple. Make sure you create your work and you fix it in whatever medium of expression you prefer. Number two, if you want to use images or videos, make sure you go to a website that authorizes your use of that image. We call these royalty-free image sites, and they give you access to stock images or stock videos that you pay a small fee, and you have exclusive right to use these images as much as you want. You can use the image on your website, or you could put it on a t-shirt, you could put it on a coffee mug, but because you paid the small fee, you have the exclusive right to use these images. So these websites are set up with the artist that created these works. They receive the fee that you pay. It could be a lot, it could be a little. So you pay that and you pretty much have permission, and the author is not going to circle back and accuse people of infringing that work, because they've already used this third-party website to sort of advertise their work that it's royalty-free and they have access to it. I want to note that royalty-free does not mean free. It just means that you have the right to use it if you use this royalty-free site. You still have to pay. Oh, I want to do story time. So I had this former client, and she was a photographer, and she was surfing the internet one day and she saw some images on another site that she wished to use on her website. So she copied the images and put them on her website. Some time had passed, and the original photographer of the works that she copied contacted her with a lawyer accusing her of copyright infringement. Now, this client did not have much of a defense because the image was on the website as well as the URL. So the URL is the identifier for the internet. So that's what a lot of companies do, is that they track their intellectual property through the use of the URL, which is a stamp pretty much. So a lot of these sites have really sophisticated ways of tracking their intellectual property across all platforms. So that's why it's really not a good idea to just lift images from one website and placing them on yours, because it's so easily tracked. And that's why I'm a proponent of going to royalty-free websites and using their stock images. They've already been authorized for use however you want to use it. So that's just a warning. Don't lift images from a website and place them on your website. So this client unfortunately had to pay because they had the unauthorized use of the image, and you really can't defend it because the proof is there on the website. So fortunately enough, these companies are just willing to have you, pay a small fee for your unauthorized use. It can get more complicated, but fortunately for this client, that's where it left. They just paid a small fee, and the client and the company were satisfied with that outcome. Oh, this is a tip for you. So if you're watching this video and you may have some questionable images on your website and you're not exactly sure if you have the right to use these images, it's a good idea to circle back and do an inventory and clean up your website. Also, you can always reach out to the original photographer or creator of the work and ask them for permission. Even if it's been several years or several months since you've used the image, it never hurts to ask for permission. This is also another tip I want to recommend. Ask for permission before you use any image. That avoids any complications that may come up later on down the line and any accusations of infringement. And if you ask for permission, do it in writing. And if they give you permission, get it in writing. Make sure you always have some documentation proving that you have the permission to use this work. Also, some video questions may come up. There's a fair use component. A lot of YouTubers have small snippets in their videos of, let's say, an episode of Friends. Maybe it's about 3 seconds. And this does not violate copyright rules because of the fair use component. But fair use can be complicated, but I'm going to do a video later on about fair use and why you sometimes can use some artistic works from another person without permission. But there's specific reasons why you can use this work, and I'm going to go through that. That's not in this video. So circling back to my original recommendations of how to avoid copyright infringement, first, make sure you're the original author of the work. If you can't be the original author and you get inspiration from somewhere else, always ask for permission to use someone else's creative work. Also, clean up your inventory of your website of any images that you may have, and also get rid of the URL because that's a stamp. If you have any images that's on there that you can be questionable, make sure you delete those images and delete the URL as well, because the URL is trackable. And that's pretty much it. I hope the information on this video was helpful. Please like and subscribe. If you have any further questions, just drop it in the comment section and I will do my best to answer them. And if you have any ideas about topics that you may be facing with your small business, or if you're an entrepreneur, just leave it in the comment section and I'm more than happy to do a video to help you. Thank you. I can see it all clear.